How do you manage stress in the workplace? We've got insights and lots of tips coming up. I'm Ron with LeadSkill. We help leaders of small companies and teams accomplish more with their people. 40% of workers in a recent study reported that they are either extremely or very stressed on a regular basis at work. So there's a lot of burnout. That's 2 out of 5 workers. In a separate finding, 75% of workers today believe that the workplace of today is more stressful than a generation ago. So clearly stress is giving us some problems. Now, the reason this is important is because stress actually affects our health, and it is a worker health issue. Besides that, it's also a hit to productivity and the quality of work that we have coming out of our companies and organizations. So how do we manage it better? I want to tackle this on 2 different levels. First of all, on the individual level for the worker, there's a couple things that we can do. The first of those is to learn and practice better relaxation techniques. If you just take time to actually breathe deeper, to take time to relax, to be more mindful about how you're dealing with your situations at work, it will really help. This is not something that has to be very involved or take a long time or that you have to become expert at. Just taking a moment to breathe at your workplace, at your desk, wherever you happen to be, especially in between situations. If you'll just take a moment to take a deep breath or 2 or 3 is even better, it really clears the mind and it also takes the stress level down a notch or 2. So relaxation. And to follow up on that, taking time to recharge is really important as well. Are you taking enough time off? Are you taking time to do things that you really enjoy doing? All of those are effective at helping us deal with stress. Another tip, second of all, on the individual level still, increase your awareness. If you'll take time to actually track your stress, journal this, keep track of this for at least a week. 2 weeks is even better. If you'll take time to actually make notes, and these can just be very short and brief. I do this on my smartphone. But if you'll take time to note situations that were stressful or triggers, stressors in your environment, make a note of that. It will increase your awareness. And then also note how you're responding or how you dealt with the stress, whether it was good or bad or neutral. But take time to notice what you're already doing, what is causing you stress, and what you're doing to respond to it. And then a third thing that you can do, and this is important, make sure that you share the burden. Don't shoulder stress alone. Talk with your supervisor about what's going on. Now, if you are the supervisor, you don't have another boss that you can talk to, you need a coach or a therapist or someone that you trust that you can talk to and share what's happening so that you can process through this. Don't shoulder stress alone. You need support. You need to share this with other people. So on the individual level, those are some tips for how we can deal with stress better in the workplace. In the comments below, share your most effective stress management technique that you've used at work that you found effective. Now, the second big area that I want to speak to, especially for leaders, is the causes of stress. I want to use the analogy. If you had a flood at the workplace, the first item of business is to try to deal with that. And so you might, whatever you can find around, and start, bailing water if you can. And if you can get people more hands on deck, more people bailing faster, that's great. But at some point, you've got to ask yourself the question, what caused the flooding? And maybe we need to go find a valve to turn off. Or if this is a situation that has repeated itself, I'm here in Houston, and we've actually had a number of epic floods just in the last several years. And so the question is, what's causing this repeated flooding? It's not just the weather, it's not just climate. One of the problems that they found in Houston was overdevelopment and not enough places set aside for detaining the water long enough so that we don't have widespread flooding. So as a leader, you need to look at the causes or go to the source. Now, let me mention specifically 3 that I found very common that you as a leader can start investigating. And it's not like you have to find the cause all on your own. In fact, get more people involved in discussing this and finding the causes and then tackling it and coming up with solutions. So first of all, common cause of stress, jobs. Now, I'm not talking about just the existence of jobs, but jobs that are poorly designed or where there is not enough definition about what is part of the job and what is not part of the job. So the scope of responsibilities. I find too many jobs, people are shouldering a lot more responsibility than really one person can handle. And so jobs that are poorly designed, and the thing that goes along with that is poor fit. So the job may require certain things and the talent or the person may not have the skills necessary to get that done. And that can be very stressful, trying to do something that you're not really that good at. And maybe you're really good at some other things and your job doesn't allow you to shine in those areas. And so jobs that are not well defined or that are poorly designed are a primary cause of stress. Second of all would be poor management or planning. And it's hard to admit this, but it's true. I've seen in many workplaces where there's a lack of good management and planning ahead. So sometimes a manager has an idea in their mind about what needs to happen, but they haven't put it down on paper or in a document and shared that. There's lack of communication. So in the first place, are you planning? That's a good question to look at. Second of all, if you have a plan, how much have you communicated that with other people? Poor management and planning leads to a number of problems where workers cannot really anticipate where we're going next or what we need to be doing, and they can't bring their best thinking and their best work out because there's really a lack of coordination at the top level. Third, workplace cultures or health practices, or really it's the lack of them. What I've noticed a lot at workplaces is that we don't really talk about stress enough or our emotions or good health practices. And that is a problem. People don't share their best thinking. People don't feel like there's even an opening for us to talk about these things. And therefore, a culture where people shoulder on and they make heroic efforts, or where there's perpetual crisis management arises, and that's just a breeding ground for more stress. So we need to talk about stress. We need to make it something that we bring out in the open and then bring effective strategies like I talked about on the individual level and make those shared, make those things that we help each other with and that we can manage and coach around. Also, the culture, we should not be ignoring or silencing people who bring up or point to these stressful situations or triggers or how we might not be dealing with them that well. You need to actually honor those people and bring them out and make these things more of a shared problem that we discuss and we tackle and we go to town on it. So I hope these ideas have been helpful. This is part of a series on emotional intelligence and effective management in the workplace. So subscribe to our channel to get more of these ideas. And we also have other videos in the series that you can watch. So check those out. I want to thank you for joining us today, watching this video, and I look forward to talking the next time.